Once a sun, I feel what you don't say. Scorpio moon, I see through the gray. I'm tuned to your soul, I read the unseen. 8th house mind, 12th house dreams. Tarot in my hands, planets in my sight. I decode the dark, turn shadow to light. Every chart's a mirror, every transit a sign. The past, the now, the future, all intertwined. I'm here for your healing, your truth, your rebirth. Reading your stars, reminding your worth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Daniel Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader, astrologer divine.
Hello, you guys. Welcome. It is me, Danielle Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. January is not easing onto the year as easy as you want to. I mean, it's Capricorn season. What do you expect? It's going to set the tone. This month is packed with Capricorn discipline, Aquarius disruption. We got some powerful full moon and new moon energy and major Pluto and Mars activity that brings truth to the surface and forces real changes. In this video, I'm going to break down the transits of January. If you're new here, welcome. And what it means for us collectively and you individually, personally, and how to navigate through it emotionally, mentally, and the power shifts that are going to happen all month long. Okay. So if you've been feeling like something is about to end, well, that is that Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, and we are starting some fresh starts, new beginnings. I've discussed this in my 2026 video, but we are going to break down this year, January, in this video. Now, before we even get started, everyone, pause, stop what you're doing, thumbs up the video. Why? Because you love astrology and tarot, and I'm giving you all this juice and tea for free, okay? And you want to give me my flowers, all the work that I do. If you want to go deeper, okay, I have some more free stuff, okay? Not because this video is free, so I'm saying more. I have a newsletter that I give out every Monday, weekly to you guys. It gives you bonus tips and it gives you the weekly transits. Not only that, it helps me stay in touch with you. If the platform that you're choosing to listen or hear this from chooses to cancel, okay, somebody, I have the power. So that gives me the power to stay in touch with you. So go ahead, and there's some other free stuff on there. There's some free readings, some free tools to learn how to read tarot. So go ahead and do that. Now, if you're like, no, I want more, I want some deeper stuff, go ahead and join my group, the paywall. Okay, I go into conspiracy theories and we read the astrology and the transits behind that. I broke down Kanye. I broke down NASA. Okay, Elon Musk. What else? A lot. It's a lot on there. So go ahead. And if you're not into conspiracy theories, I even give you bonus tips, best times to launch a business, to fall in love, to do a party. I break that down every zodiac season and also monthly. They get those things. A lot of before I even get here, we go to the paywall because that's where I get paid. Okay. So go ahead and check out the links are down below. Let's get into what we have now. Let's get into January, shall we? Hello, here I am in the corner. Hi, little tiny me. If you guys are listening via podcast, welcome. I'm going to break down, not break down, but tell you what we are looking at. Right now, I have on my screen the transits of January. And then we'll get into the illuminations and all that stuff. So Mercury, January 1st, Mercury is going to square Neptune in Pisces, and then it will really immediately enter Capricorn. We'll talk about that. January 6th, we have Venus in Capricorn is going to conjunct the sun, like a little Cazimi of love. Okay, January 7th, Venus is going to conjunct Mars. Mars is sitting close to the sun, if you didn't know. That's also going to affect the full moon that we have January 3rd. We'll talk about that. The sun is going to conjunct Mars. I've said that because that's dealing with the full moon. Venus is going to oppose Jupiter. That's retrograding in Cancer. January 17th. That's January 9th. On January 17th, the sun is going to oppose Jupiter, which is retrograding. Mars is going to oppose Jupiter, which is retrograding. January 14th, Mars is going to oppose Jupiter. Then on the 15th, which is my son's birthday, Martin Luther King's birthday, Venus is going to trine Uranus. This is the first major positive one here. So this is really good. You guys won't have to do work for as love or thinking outside of the box for as creativity. That's great. January 17th, we will have Venus entering Aquarius, but at the same time, the sun will trine Uranus, which is retrograding in Taurus. Mercury is going to conjunct Mars. I feel like no, yes. January 18th, Mercury will trine Uranus retrograding, and then we'll have a full moon in Capricorn. On the 19th, the sun will enter Aquarius. Happy solar return to all of my Aquarius. That's also my daughter. But Venus will conjunct Pluto, and then Mars will trine Uranus. So January 19th, when we enter Aquarius season, looks very positive for the vibe in the sky. January 20th, we'll talk about that. Mercury enters Aquarius. On the 21st, Mercury will conjunct the sun. That's a Cazimi. 22nd, Mercury will conjunct Pluto. 23rd, we have the sun conjunct Pluto, and then get ready for the secrets to be revealed that day. On the 26th, we have ingression. Neptune will finally enter Aries, stay in Aries. And on the 27th, Mars will conjunct Pluto. And on the 29th, Mercury is going to conjunct Venus. Let me tell you about the luminations. What else do we have? The retrogrades, all that stuff, right? So the luminations, we have a full moon in Cancer. That is going to be January 3rd. On the 18th, we have a Capricorn New Moon. The ingresses, January 1st, we have Mercury entering Capricorn. On the 17th, Venus will enter Aquarius. On the 19th, the Sun will enter Aquarius, which I just discussed earlier. On the 20th, Mercury will enter Aquarius. On the 26th, Neptune will enter Aries. New beginnings, new starts when it comes to illusions and secrets and revelations. Okay. And on the 2nd of January, Chiron is going to station direct. Okay. Now, let's get into the chart and let's see what we have and break down every day of January. Okay. First, you know what? Actually, let me do something different, which I don't normally do. Let me pull a card for what we can expect. You know what? Let's use this deck here. Let's pull a card and see what we can expect overall for the month of January, and then we'll get into the transits. As far as astrology, we have a lot of lack, especially with that Capricorn energy. That makes sense. A lot of people feeling like they didn't earn enough, didn't do enough, don't have enough money, not enough resources, and that Capricorn energy tends to bring the reality to things. But then we have positivity. A lot of people being creative, starting new projects, giving fertility to something, starting things, being hard work. That's also the father energy. The father is production, producing, very successful. So you have both of the sides of Capricorn happening. So you have the negative side, which is very pessimistic, negative, looking like you have nothing, lack of resources. On the positive side, everyone who had great karma, who did the hard work, is going to see it be successful. So you have that, even though we are dealing with Aquarius energy, which is very funny. We have the Aquarius card, which is the star card. So if you're listening to this, I pulled the 5 of coins, and then I pulled the sun card, and now we have the star card, which represents Aquarius. And I'll break down what that means as we do the transits, because to me, that's just that's an Aquarius card. A lot of healing, a lot of thinking of the future, thinking of the people. Okay. Now, January 1st, let me pull up the chart. I know you see it here, but let me pull it up. I think I need a new battery in my mouse. Okay, January 1st, we have Mercury is going to square, look at 29 degrees. It's going to square that Neptune in Pisces. This is on New Year's. Isn't that great? A lot of illusions, confusion, misinformation, blurred truths. Information is available, but not all of it is going to be accurate or complete. We do have a finishing of something. This is the energy. This is a mutable sign. So that means some changes, and there's conflict and changes, or things that are very changeable or adaptable. Now, Sagittarius is energy of information on a global scale, worldwide, on the platform, publishing, the podcasters on a bigger scale, right? But a lot of words, promises, and stories are easily distorted, mixed messages. There could be rumors, exaggerations, a lot of lost in the sauce. 29 degrees represents something that's ending too. A lot of gaslighting, denial, unclear communication. Yeah, just be ready for some confusions or belief systems being changed, because Sagittarius does represent a religion, your philosophy, what you believe, higher learning too. Being confused about higher learning, or traveling around the world as well. Conflicting narratives in media, walkbacks, retractions. That's not what I meant kind of statements. Traveling confusions majorly with this too, and maybe even some water problems or lack of water, because you have this Saturn sitting next to that Neptune in Pisces. A lot of dehydration, a lot of lack of water, being very negative too. Saturn is involving this. So Saturn also represents the government and limitations and people of authority, and there could be some confusion about that. Spiritual and inspirational messages trend, but lack of follow through. People question your credibility. On a personal level, there could be some indecisiveness, because this energy is very indecisive and over promises a lot. So you're overcommitted at the same time you are promising too much. Heightened intuition, but logic needs to catch up. Second guessing some conversations or messages. Maybe you're tempted to avoid reality instead of dealing with it. This is a very emotional, sensitive energy, this Neptune in Pisces. So I want you to be aware that there could be some confusion or some sensitivities added to the drama of the conversation or text messages or email. Taking information at face value, you want to watch out for that. Over promising or exaggerating, misunderstanding, anything that's dealing with travel. That's dealing with publishing, that's dealing with optimism too, because this could be overly optimistic. Just double check all the details. January 1st is a time to pause. Okay. The bigger picture could be too big. So everyone calm down, relax January 1st. On that same day, which is very interesting, right after we have this drama, then Mercury will enter, you see it's at 1 degrees, but it will enter Capricorn later on that day, January 1st. So the confusion moves pretty fast, which is great. Mercury entering Capricorn, things are very serious. Now everyone's going to be very serious about their long-term goals. That's why in January 1st, when we have Capricorn energy, we are thinking about journaling, writing our long-term goals, being serious, being realistic, thinking about the future, but in a very grounded and tangible way. So serious conversations, planning, being accountable, communication shifts from big picture ideas to practical execution. No more overpromising here. No, you're going to be real. Okay. You're going to be like, actually, I can't do all of that. You're going to focus on your goals. You're going to structure. There's going to be structure, contracts, business, measured in your speech, very strategic. The emotions are out of it. Now you are grounded, and less tolerance for fluff, and excessive or vague promises. Very realistic. Okay. Great time to double check everything. This is a great time to think about your career and your work and your public reputation. Ground big ideas before acting on them. Avoid any assumptions. Really take the emotions out of everything, and think about business and being professional. Don't commit based on promises alone. Okay. This is all about planning. This is all about structure. This is all about being accountable. This is also about setting some boundaries and thinking long term. A very professional energy. When you are talking about the news, because Mercury represents the news and the media, you are going to have a lot of negativity, pessimism, a lot of things from the government, a lot of discussions about restrictions, just rigid thinking, being overly critical too. Maybe there's too much blunt conversations coming from the government as well. Government could be confusing statements on clarity, mixed messages around the government, or rules, or regulations, or timelines. Yeah, hard reality energy when it comes to the government. What else do we have? Oh, accountability. You're going to see that in the news too. Let me see on a personal level. I said that. Did I say that? Being organized, thinking long term, career. I love when Mercury's in Capricorn, because I want to focus on my career. So I like that. And when the energy shifts to another earth sign, Virgo, then everyone's thinking about health. So I like the earth sign energy. Taurus is a little bit, I already like to kick back and be comfortable and live in comfort and go to the spa. So Taurus is not the best. When the energy shifts to Capricorn, I like the grind. I like the hustle. Anyway, but let me know if that works for you. January 2nd, which we have here, Chiron starts to go direct. Where's my Chiron? Did I take it? Here it is. It's direct. It was retrograding, and now it goes direct. Chiron is the planet of the wounded healer. It's in the sign Aries. That's about your identity. That's about anger. That's about being impulsive. It's about being courageous, survival, independence. One, singular, the first, okay? And Chiron is going to be loud and unavoidable. You're going to have some deeply personal healing here. Okay, there's energy of moving forward. There's healing when you're impulsive and moving fast. A lot of self-worth, confidence, and personal power you get with this Chiron going. A lot of people are healing themselves, even the physical body, working out. That's that Chiron in Aries. Maybe you are setting some boundaries, you're speaking up, you're being more bold, you're reclaiming your identity. There's a lot of confidence. It's not a soft healing, very aggressive healing. Okay. So someone who's very brave in their healing. Yeah, let me see. Choosing yourself without needing permission, letting go of the need of to explain or justify any kind of anger. Are you being impulsive? Are you moving fast? Maybe even going with your gut feeling when trying to achieve things. A lot of healing. So I heal by showing up as myself unapologetically. And this is someone who's authentically themselves. And it all depends on where your Aries is in your chart. But because we have Taurus here as a Taurus rising, Aries is in your 12th house. And then that makes you really think about your spirituality, putting spirituality first, being impulsive. Maybe there's anger around some forgiveness and releasing as well. Okay. But that moves forward for the collective. Now, January 3rd, we have a full moon. It's going to be at 13 degrees. 13 degrees is a Aries degree. So there's a lot of energy around the first, around being brave, around the individual, everything that I discussed just earlier with Aries. Now, but we have the full moon, right? A full moon is uh it's a seesaw between masculine and feminine energy, between external and internal energy, between the mother and the father. Okay. They can't see eye to eye because they're in the opposition. Now, the sun will be sitting very close to Jupiter. Not too close because it will be at 13 degrees, but it will be sitting close to Jupiter. So this could be something that's very expansive or overly optimistic as far as your emotions, or it's something really big, a very sensitive energy. The moon is at home in Cancer. When the moon is at home in Cancer, it means double dosage, and that's a lot of moodiness and Cancer themes, family related, feeling safe, feeling a sense of belonging, your home, your past, your ancestry, your home, your roots, emotional security and protection, all that. And then now it's like, this is the middle of the phase, and now it's like, oh my gosh, this has hit the fan. Okay. So now what do we have though? The moon is opposing these planets here. It's opposing Venus, Valcon. It's opposing Mars. When it's opposing Venus, these are things that are dealing with your harmony. These are dealing with aesthetics. These are dealing with relationships. Maybe you are feeling vulnerable. Maybe these things, your emotions are clashing when it comes to any type of female relationship, or just relationship period. Also too, Venus represents money, so there could be some finances here, and it's very negative or it's very pessimistic, or something that's restricting of some sort. Okay. Yeah, so you have that happening. Emotional sensitivity is heightened. Old emotional patterns around family could be resurfacing. The need to resurface, to have reassurance, not resurface, to have comfort, to feel emotionally safe. Now that Valcon is a esoteric point here, and it's got that arrow upside down. It's not a visible planet. It represents forging, it represents pressure and refinement through heat, right? Very interesting because this is the 13th degree, and that is a fire kind of energy, but there's a pressure of some sort. So there is this opposition, a pressure through opposition of your emotions. So inner strength, self mastery, endurance, being tested through pressure. Now it's retrograding, it's in Capricorn. So this could be internal, this could be something of a redoing. Maybe you have to just remember the RE words: redo, repeat, remember, all that stuff. But it just adds some test under. It's like you're pressured. You're under pressure is a word I want to think. So you could be emotionally shut down. You could be withholding some affection as control, staying in obligations that drain you, letting duty override your emotional truth. Okay, so that Valcon adds pressure to the relationship, to the inner harmony, to the balance. Now we have Mars here. Mars is the ruler of that 13th energy degree, which is that Aries degree, which is also aggression. So the Mars is adding aggression. Is adding a physical part to this Capricorn energy that we cannot see eye to eye with. When I say we, I mean the emotions, the people. This could be dealing with the people too, because the moon represents the people. Emotional security versus ambitions, vulnerability versus self-control. Mars added to this. Do I have this in my notes? Let me see. Do I have Mars, Valcon? Mars, let me see. Prioritizing discipline, control, and achievement, pushes emotions to get things done. The Mars opposition is make things more aggressive, makes things more impulsive, makes things more assertive. And it's like it's too assertive and you're too sensitive. So be aware of that. Or this could be something dealing with your public reputation or at work or the government, and are very aggressive. When you have these things all together, pressure, relationships, inner harmony, your ego, the light is shining, a bright light on something, and there's aggression, there's assertiveness, there is physicality added to it, or anger, right? And poor little emotional self cannot see eye to eye. Okay, so you are meeting obligations at the cost of emotional well-being. Relationships could be transactional instead of being nurturing and loving, and you don't feel safe there. You're withholding affection to maintain control. You're prioritizing work, status versus your home and your family. Okay, this could be also something from your past versus something that you are currently going through. All right, collective things: public tension, emotional responses to authority, leadership, government, or remember, police force, conversations about burnout, emotional neglect. So yeah, be ready for that. But this is a very emotional time. January 3rd, it affects me. It lands on my planets, my personal planets. I told my twin brother. So let's see how this plays out. I'll give you a recap of how this looks afterwards. Best way to work through this is acknowledge emotional emotions without letting them get out of control. Okay. The moodiness with this is very strong. Balance, care with responsibility. Communication is needed here. Thank God that this is grounded and not as emotional. Let your emotional honesty guide healthier boundaries. I'm going to pull a card on what you need for this full moon. We have the Hermit. This is someone who needs to seek solitude, maybe be on your own just for the day of the full moon. The moon moves fast. Okay. A lot of self enlightenment, a lot of self help. Virgo energy is what the Hermit represents. So health, cleansing, diminishing. Also just being enlightened with the self, not like asking someone for advice, you getting it on your own, you tapping within and finding that inner light. Okay. Let me see. Mars in Capricorn at the same time of this full moon is going to trine the North Node. This is very positive because it'll also sextile the South Node. So sextile the South Node, trine the North Node. When this happens, why do I have this Mars in Capricorn? This is at 10 degrees. Why do I have that in my notes? I don't see that, so I'm not going to say that. But my note says it. So maybe it's something. Nope. Okay. We'll go back. We'll disregard that. But it is, I mean, it is sitting close. It's a 4-degree orb. So I'll just tell you that things moving forward, you trying to pursue things within your destiny is going to work really great. But we are dealing with the emotions here. Okay. Let me see. I don't know why that's in my notes randomly. January 6th, though. We'll go into January 6th. Venus is going to conjunct the sun. There'll be a Cazimi. There'll be a aha moment when it comes to your not your emotions, your balance. Maybe even something dealing with fairness, justice, court, women, teammates, feminine energy, creativity, what you value, commitment, maturity, long-term choices, love. Maybe it's more responsible, redefining success in relationships, choosing quality over quantity. You know, collectively, conversations around money, labor, what you're worth, what you value, strategic partnerships could take center stage. Maybe you desire stability and structure and you're reevaluating some relationships. But the sun is going to highlight this, so get ready for January 6th. Could be more of a like Valentine's Day, before Valentine's Day, but it's more grounded, it's more serious, it's more structured, not as lovey-dovey. Okay, defining relationship expectations, setting some boundaries around time, around energy, around affection, maybe thinking long term in your relationship. You could be doing that. Okay, what you value, what you want to commit to is what you're getting with that. Being more serious about relationships too. On the 7th of January, now we have what enters the building. Mars. Okay, so now sex has entered the building. Okay, maybe you're going to be more intimate. Maybe there's aggression when you have Mars and Venus, men and masculine and feminine energy coming together. The aggression towards what you value, what you naturally attract, now you're achieving it, and the sun is highlighting it. This is in Capricorn, so this could be something dealing with your reputation, your career, long-term standings, being very serious. Now conjunctions are very strong, so you will feel this. You know, this may not be dealing with you personally, but you're going to be watching the public go through this. But what I want you to understand, that it could be either good or bad. Okay, so let's try to lean on a more positive side when Mars and Venus are sitting conjunct and that sun is highlighting it. But there is some type of aggression. Are you achieving something? Are you moving forward? Are you fighting for the relationship or fairness or justice, or maybe someone's tried to they're really aggressive, and it's your inner harmony or your balance that you're trying to achieve, because remember, Venus is all about balance. It's also about that uterus, so aggression towards the uterus. Yeah, aggression towards the uterus. Okay, now be ready for that. That's a big one. But just know that this energy, not like Pluto, because Pluto is obsession, but just like physical energy towards inner harmony. And maybe you are trying to achieve that, or maybe someone's trying to displace that harmony of some sort. Okay. Now, the ruler of this, all this energy, because we have a lot of planets over here, is Saturn. And Saturn is sitting over here and it's sitting next to Neptune. So there could be a lot of illusions here, or maybe there's some compassion. You never know. Okay, it's sextile the energy, so it is positive. Work with it. Okay, on the 7th of, no, I said the 7th. Now on the 9th of January, now we have the sun sitting in a Cazimi with Mars sitting in Cazimi with the sun. A lot of strong energy when you have Mars and the sun, a lot of physical masculine energy. Okay, strong willpower, leadership, taking initiative, being mature, having control, building momentum, turning pressure into productivity. Great time to work this whole Capricorn season. The whole beginning of January. Work under pressure, communicate clearly, think about the details, think about long term, think about goals, think about things that take a long time, but you are accountable, you're being responsible. Basically, that's what we have all at the beginning of January. The moon gets involved. That's a little rocky part with that full moon. Other than that, um, you know, basically, God and the universe is saying, focus on family. Hello, there's family here. Or look at your past, be a little more sensitive. Sure, balance that out at the same time. Great time to work with having some strength when it comes to your career. Leadership and authority figures, they could be a little serious around this time. A lot of emphasis on government, corporations, the CEO, that old man who's your mentor. Focus on productivity, work ethics, and you shall see some results. Okay. Now, also, Venus is going to oppose Jupiter that's retrograding in Cancer. Now, both of these planets are very positive planets, okay? When you see positive planets together, they're both benefic planets. And this may not be a negative transit, even though opposition is negative. It can't see eye to eye, okay? Venus in Capricorn seeks structure and responsibility. Jupiter retrograding, okay, redoing, repeating, resaying, remembering, is in Cancer. So there's emotional needs, there's family, there's inner security. So we need to have a balance to have some growth and containment. Emotional excessiveness. Maybe someone's overly sensitive in a relationship, giving too much or withholding too much, reevaluating when it comes to love and your friendships or that female or that woman. And money and that emotional boundaries. This is also like a woman who works, or a woman with ethics, or a woman who is very practical, very grounded, or maybe an actual Capricorn itself, okay? Reassessing what security really means too, because you are talking about the money, especially when Cancer energy is all about security. And sometimes Cancer people or energy, if they have a lot of Cancer energy, they have a lot of money because they want to have that security. But on a collective level, there could be discussions around housing and aesthetics and remodeling, and there could be a financial burden between the two. So be aware of that. Maybe pushback over some resources when it comes to the home, or when it comes to your mom or your past. Emotional responses to financial or home obligations that could be happening as well. So just be aware of that. Let's see what else. Balance care with responsibility. January 10th, we have a few things. We have the sun in Capricorn. Now it's opposing Jupiter. Whenever Jupiter is involved, there's expansion, there's over promising, overdoing something. Okay. Now Mars also is sitting close and it's opposing Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer, because it expands things, people could be overly sensitive. You got a lot of people crying on the internet, a lot of mom kind of talk, a lot of revisiting the past, looking in the past, nostalgia too. Now you have the sun and Mars. Remember, both the sun and the Mars is very masculine energy. And so you have this masculine getting the work done. And now here comes the wait a minute, but are you paying attention to your home? Okay. The sun in Capricorn highlights responsibility, authority, long term goals, your career, your reputation. Jupiter in Cancer, again, emotional security, your family, your mom, your past, your protection. Okay, so let's see. This is expansion versus containment, public responsibility versus the private needs, because you have your reputations and you have things that actually happen at home behind closed doors. Reevaluating what success actually feels like. As well, growth that requires emotional maturity. Be ready for that. You may be feeling pulled between two things here. Because Jupiter is a positive planet, whatever the opposition is that day on the 10th, it will end up being positive. You may not see it that day. You may see an opposition, a tug of war, like reality check, and you're overextending to something, or something from the past is repeating itself within it comes to your reputation. And you may be feeling a little burnout or emotionally neglected. But true success must feel secure, one. Also, two, Jupiter likes to bring positive things. So, whatever the lesson is, it will end up being positive. And it's always a lesson when you're dealing with Capricorn, okay? And then when Mars is entering that energy, too, this is your drive. This is you trying to fight. Mars in Capricorn pushes discipline, action, and control. So acting before your emotions are being processed, because that Mars likes to move a little fast. Maybe you're overreacting. Maybe the emotions are escalating. Maybe there's power struggles. Maybe there's heightened emotions, and there's leadership or restriction, or pessimism when you're trying to achieve things. Public resistance to forceful decisions. Yeah, so be ready of that. This is verbal, because we do have that Mercury in Capricorn. So arguments rooted in emotional defensiveness, feeling triggered by authority and control, taking action to protective emotional boundaries, revisiting some old family conflicts. Pause before pushing. because this can overdo it. Maybe it's like it's too aggressive, okay? Even though I think Capricorn energy is great energy, but you don't want to be too much Capricorn. You want to be too serious. You don't want to only be thinking of long term. You don't want to be too practical. You don't want to be too grounded. That's boring. That's boring. It's too serious. Like, let's have fun. Let's have some emotions involved. Let's not be insensitive, because this could be a little cold too. Let's be sensitive, okay? Now I wanted to say it was something before this, because we had an earthquake in LA, small earthquakes. I wanted to say this energy here, back here, when it hit that 29 degrees, there could be something dealing with something with weather, that changes things. Okay. I wanted to bring that up. I forgot to bring that up. That was at the early of January. Now, on January 14th, is what I see next. Mercury is now in opposition with Jupiter. Now, when Mercury enters the building of Jupiter, now you have the news, okay? You have the podcasters, and we do have Uranus in Taurus. It's not in Gemini yet, but this is the podcasters. This is when all the social media and the media and any form of communication, the emails, the texts, the phone calls, this is when they enter the building, okay? Mercury in Capricorn, again, it's very focused, it's very logical, it's about planning, it's about structure, it's very realistic. And that Jupiter in Cancer, again, emotions, family, home, the past, your inner security, what makes you feel safe. Now it can't see eye to eye. It's like the facts versus the feelings, the logic versus your intuition and your dreams. Are your mom and the father figure, they're in opposition. Mental clarity challenged by emotional bias, reevaluating beliefs shaped by your family or your past experiences, and it's affecting your long-term goals. Okay. Now, on a collective level, this could be conflicting statements from a leadership or an institution or a CEO of some sort, revisions or delays, because Capricorn represents not just limitations, but delays, the father of time, the karma. There could be some delays in some policies, or delays when it comes to something from your past or your home. Emotional reaction to official messaging, public debates around what feels right versus what makes sense. Get ready for that. This is definitely a news article kind of day. Let's see what happens in the news. You are talking about the government restrictions, limitations, pessimism, lack of resources, the cold, the winter, versus home and safety. And maybe it's something of the past. Let's see what happens that day. Think clearly, but feel honest. But just know that that is something, a newsworthy kind of event that day on the 14th. Then on Martin Luther King's birthday, Venus is going to be positive, and it's going to be really working with Uranus. And Venus is the ruler of Uranus. So this is really great. Uranus is a planet of unexpected surprises, things that are very out of the box, freedom, the future. Venus in Capricorn, again, values commitment, stability, and long term investments. Uranus retrograding in Taurus continues to reshape your values, your finances, your self worth. Yeah, and stocks and banks. So someone who is trading, this is a great day to trade. If you're dealing something with banks or something dealing with finances, great. Whatever you value, this is great long term. And thinking out of the box, a lot of supportive energy when it comes to the internet, when it comes to finances, when it comes to beauty, but grounded beauty, realistic beauty. None of that Photoshop or AI. This is AI, but it's a traditional kind of way of doing things when it comes to um, technology, because this does represent technology. Uranus also represents the higher intellect. So someone who is traditional, but it's a traditional way of looking at intellect, like reading a book versus like being on a computer. It works really good with fairness and justice and balance and harmony. So this is a great day to read. Gradual shifts in economic or financial structures, a lot of slow but meaningful change kind of energy, stability that allows some freedom, that kind of energy, openness to change without feeling like you're not stable, a desire to improve relationships and finances, feeling more secure while trying something new, renewed confidence in personal values. Great for finances, great for money. Finances and money are the same thing, or whatever you value. Just know that you can take your own pace and you can really think about the details. This is not something you have to work on. This is something that's going to land on your lap. 27 degrees. This is 24, 25, 26, 27. Ooh, communication, social media, online, something in your community. Um, could be dealing with something with your siblings, a relationship with your siblings as well. Okay. Yeah. Experiment within structure, make small upgrades that have long term value, allow flexibility without abandoning stability, trust gradual process. Okay. Now, on the 17th of January, the fun enters, the seriousness ends, but we have right before that, Venus will be at 29 degrees. It was sextile Neptune, which is sitting next to Saturn. So the seriousness about compassion is going to work really good with relationships and fairness and balance. So take advantage of that on the 16th, because on the 15th, 16th, because then Venus will enter Aquarius on the 17th. Okay. So work on the relationships and being serious about relationships and love and grounded. And then now it enters the quirky Aquarius energy. Also to this day, the sun will be trining Uranus. This is very positive, and Mercury will be conjunct Mars. So the 17th is a very, very busy day. So Venus moving into Aquarius is shifting your love, what you value, what you naturally attract, the money, towards freedom and being authentic and thinking about the future and being out of the box. Mental, unconventional energy and future focus kind of energy. Okay. Emotions are not involved with Aquarius energy. This energy could be a little cold too. Very detached, very aloof. A lot of independence in relationships, redefining love beyond traditional expectations. This is a time where people get into groups and they join the sorority, join the book club, join a network, a club of some sort. Aquarius also represents the government too, because you're talking about the Senate. And I don't know the branches, but it's one of the branches. I think the Senate and governors. Detachment from outdated emotional patterns, changes in relationship norms to social values. You're thinking about the people. You're not really thinking about your home, or you're naturally attracting something when it comes to a community, a group, yeah, the people. So you're naturally attracting something from the people. Also too great for online, working online. So this time you were working with your work and your career. Now when all these planets move into Aquarius, now you're dealing with the future, you're dealing with the internet, bigger than ever, higher intellect energy, not emotional. Now Venus is going to sit and it's going to get closer to Pluto, and that is transformations in relationship. Maybe you're changing the way you look, if you have Aquarius energy, but also to being obsessed with freedom of speech and what you value, and it bring harmony of some sort. Anyway, but Venus in Aquarius, love becomes a little different. Different is the word that you would use for Aquarius. So you are focus more on long term love when Venus was in Capricorn. Now that it moves into Aquarius, you're thinking about something different. Or maybe you want a little freedom. Or maybe you're like, you know what? Let's be a little bit out of the box. Let's try polygamy or something like that. It's very different when it's in Aquarius. Love needs freedom to thrive. Okay. Now, the sun trining Uranus, very positive here. Uranus, again, very out of the box, but it's valuing security and finances here. Strategic breakthroughs. I'm confident in anything that's evolving or some like futuristic systems. Progress that feels grounded. Very positive. The sun is highlighting the internet. The sun is highlighting the intellect, the people, the fighting for the cause. Productive changes in business and finance. Innovative ways when it comes to anything traditional, a traditional system, update systems, routines, implement innovative ideas, make strategic adjustments. Progress through smart change is what you get with the sun highlighting that Uranus. Expect the unexpected surprise, but it's positive, and the sun will shine a big light on that. Now, that Mercury and Mars sitting together is not just you talking the talk, but you walking the talk at the same time. So you're achieving and thinking and processing the information while doing. Great for mental stamina, speaking with authority, decisive thinking, firm statements, assertive negotiations, strong opinions, confident in speaking your truth, motivation to act on your plans. Now, remember, conjunctions are negative and positive, and the moon is here, so it's got some emotions. There could be, if you're talking about about media too, because Mercury represents the media. There could be something, an announcement of regarding the media when it comes to the government or limitations or boundaries or structure or something that's very slow in movement. That could be happening, and it could be dealing with war because that Mars represents war, but there could be harsh or impatience, something dealing with that energy, arguments driven by the ego because the sun is sitting here too, mental burnout. So be aware of that. Those are the more negative sides of that conjunction. But on the positive side of this stallion, the emotions are there, the people are there, and they are thinking long term and they're being a little bit more serious, not too emotional. Okay. Now, on the 18th of January, this is when we have the new moon in Capricorn, and also too Mercury is now trining Uranus. So the new moon is positive. It's conjunct this Mercury, it's conjunct the Mars. They are sitting and trining Uranus. So I find that this new moon is going to be very positive. Capricorn new moon begins a powerful new cycle around goals, around ambition, around structure, around leadership, around the mentor, around your father, around long term plans. Very highly activated. Let me see, sudden clarity around business, around career, reworking routines, your finances, your schedule. All the people who are journaling, it gets better during the new moon. On the 18th, this is a great time to really do those vision boards. That's when you really want to do it. Okay. Bold goal setting, mental focus, and follow through, courage to commit to long term plans, taking responsibility for direction. Now, this new moon is also going to sextile this energy. A lot of positive energy for this new moon is going to sextile Neptune and Saturn. So dreams become actionable. Intuition meets discipline. Spiritual goals can be grounded into reality. A lot of manifestation, and are structured towards it, turning inspiration into tangible results. You guys, this is the day you want to do all the planning. This is the day you want to write down everything you want to manifest for the year. Do it January 18th during that new moon, okay? And then it's trining Uranus. So not only do you want to do that, but put it on the internet. Tell the internet you want to do it, okay? Because Uranus represents the internet. Or maybe there's an intellectual conversation happening to help you improve this goals. But changes will flow easily. There's new beginnings, and they're going to be stable, not chaotic. There's long-term security that could be built through innovation. This is sustainable growth. This is financial and career shifts that feel more aligned because emotions are involved here. Upgrading your life without it being unstable. Very great for positive, disciplined, innovative, and intuitive energy. So I can't say enough things about January 18th being positive. Also, too, is dealing with the 28th degree. This is dealing with, again, the future. Technology. That's why you could put it on the internet. Best way to work with this is to be realistic when setting long-term goals, thinking outside of the box, working with the intellect. Yeah, even if you're someone who's like boycotting or fighting for the people, this works great for that too. Now, right before the sun will enter Aquarius season, the sun will be at 29 degrees and it was sextile Neptune. So even on the 19th, if you're dealing with any compassion, charity, anything dealing with the homeless or anything dealing with addiction, on a positive side, if you work on that energy, it will work for you. Okay. But it's out there, you have to do the work. Okay. Now, when the sun enters Aquarius, it's going to conjunct Mercury. There's a Cazimi here. Then Venus will conjunct Pluto. This is going to be a very interesting day, the 19th. And then Mars is going to trine Uranus. Okay, so this conjunction here could be positive because Venus is a benefic planet, and this is going to happen on the 19th. So I'll sit it back, but we'll do some hours here. Let me do some hours. There we go. Well, I want to do Mercury involved here too. Let's see. Does Mercury? Oh no, now we're on the 20th. Okay, so it's on the 19th. Okay, so on the 19th, Mercury doesn't involve here. We'll talk about that on the 20th. But the sun in Aquarius, and it's sitting next to Pluto. Pluto means that the secrets will be revealed. Let's see. This could be dealing with freedom of speech. This could be dealing with social media platforms like Facebook. This is when Mark Zuckerberg came out and said, they told me I had to do something with the votes. That could be happening. This is when Telegram said they tried to arrest me. They tried to take over my business. He was another social platform. Just know that when the sun gets to Pluto, there's some secrets being revealed. Also, too, Venus is sitting there. So secrets being revealed about a woman, a secret's being revealed um about a woman, about harmony, something dealing with law or justice. Also too, this is transformer. Okay, it transforms some things. And Pluto in Aquarius is also um, freedom of speech. So that could be happening. Okay. But the sun involved here, moving in Aquarius, you're talking about innovation. You're talking about your future. You're talking about your visions, the future vision. You're talking about technology, your hopes and dreams, the collective progress. Thinking about the underdog. Also, ideas, systems, and social change. You're talking about individuality. You're talking about being your authentic self, being a little quirky, the weirdness, all that stuff comes out during Aquarius season. A lot of freedom, a lot of independence, a lot of innovative, a lot of reform, a lot of community, collective awareness, detachment during towards anything that's outdated. Okay. Now, there is increased energy and focus on technology, on science, on space, on astrology, on innovation, public conversations around social reform and equality, a spotlight on any type of community based movements and collective actions. This is when a boycotting and a strikes, all this stuff happens here. Okay. A lot of things with higher learning. And Sagittarius normally represents higher learning, but that Aquarius represents the intellect. So a lot of focus on that. But this is a great time to explore new ideas, experiment with different approaches. Remember, I pulled the star card for the reading earlier, the star card for this month of January. And this is what this represents it represents new ideas, experimenting, healing, the future, engaging in community. Focusing on I said the future, technology, and things that are very out of the box, increase curiosity and be open to new perspectives. This is all about thinking forward. Thinking forward, okay? The original card for the star card, the person is naked, so they're bearing it all. So that's why you want to be really authentic, okay? A lot of socializing too, though, because that Pluto conjunct this Venus here. Powerful reset in love, values, money, social bonds. This is also a party. Venus represents a party. So everything I talked about Venus earlier, like a very serious party and vision board parties, that's what that party was about. Now Venus in Aquarius is about the party about the future. And going to a party and it's all technology. It's like you go to a concert and everything was tech. There's like a place out here in LA, or is it in Vegas that has that? But it's like you're socializing. It's very futuristic. Now, when you have Pluto involved, though, Pluto is very intense. It's just not transformative. It's very intense. It could be very deep energy. Power and control in relationships could be happening. Radical honesty about desires, breaking free from unhealthy attachments, collective shifts in values and alliances. On a collective level, this could be dealing with some finances. There could be shifts in alliances, conversations around loyalty and control, intense attraction or detachment happening here. Relationships either deepen or end. There will be a change of some sort, a rebirth of something when it comes to relationships. And maybe that polygamy that you were experimenting with before, it ends now, okay? Redefining what loyalty and freedom means. But this is the planet of obsession, so be aware of that. Watch out for that. This is emotional extremes too. There's some power struggles when you have this, and then this is masculine energy, this is feminine energy. So it's like, it is masculine, but a woman, a masculine woman kind of energy. But just be ready for obsession and power control. And let me see what else. Also, too, there's pressure added to this as well. Remember, I told you this is pressure under heat. Choose honestly over control. Choose honesty over control. Release attachment that limits growth. Allow relationships to evolve naturally. This is dealing with law too, and justice and fairness. There could be some obsession here or some control here. power struggles happening there. But Mars is trining Uranus. Again, the action with Uranus is going to be a lot of productive ways of thinking forward or thinking of the future, strategic progress, controlled risk taking, because this is very risk energy, sustainable action, advancements in technology here. You trying to move things forward and you have confidence with new ideas. You're breaking free of things for the future and technology. Someone who was scared of technology, now you're like, you know what, I can do this in the name of my career and my status. Momentum moving forward with long-term goals, motivation to change routines, productively, and feeling empowered to build differently. Yeah, this is someone who can take some calculated risk here and being outside of the box and try something new. Yeah, so you want to experiment here. January 20th is all about experimenting for your future, for your goals, update systems. All the technology should be working with confidence with you. Trying is positive, so you want to move forward with a purpose. And then on the 20th, we have Mercury entering the building. This is when the news gets involved here. I have it at the hour. This is when the news gets involved. Something could be happening in the news again. A big story here on the 20th, here, January 20th. But not only that, it is dealing with the future, technology, space. You know, Elon Musk is saying something about space kind of energy. Mercury moves in Aquarius. It shifts communication, thinking, and information to innovative. You're no more talking about the grounded, tangible things. Now you're like, oh, let's do something weird and quirky. Very objectivity and future focused ideas, conversations around the intellectual. You're detached emotionally, very unconventional. You want to try new systems, new patterns. You care about the collective. It's big picture thinking. At the same time, it's very intellectual. There's innovation, there's originality, there's truth seeking, a lot of clarity when Mercury's in Aquarius too. Yeah, but a lot of disruptions, a lot of impulsivity when it comes to thinking. This energy likes to move fast, but it's not movement because this is movement. Think fast, talk fast, say things fast. Mental clarity through detachment, desire to think differently and break mental habits, easier communication in group and community settings. If you're having a party, great time to have a party. It's a little intense though. Be ready for that. Watch out for emotional detachment or cold communication, intellectual superiority or stubborn opinions. Aquarius is a fixed sign. Even though it's very different and very out of the box, it's very stubborn in the way it thinks. It says, you know, this is the intellectual thought and that is it. We're not changing. I'm not budging. This is the way I think. So be aware of that. But this energy best works when you're sharing ideas. This is when you collaborated with like-minded people. Because remember, it's fixed. You embrace new ideas, innovative ideas. You stay open to perspectives that could challenge you. But this is a time to think differently, okay? Let me see. New ideas disrupt outdated narratives, conversations about technology and AI and social media and even talking. Because Aquarius is the talker, okay? Unconventional opinions could spark a debate, sudden announcements, challenges the status quo, collective thinking moves forward. Digital platforms. This could be a big change in digital platforms too, because this represents change and transformation. Focus turns to the future. Okay, on the 21st, Mercury will conjunct the sun, and then we'll have that Cazimi here. Again, this is something in the news, something truthful can be coming out. There could be a powerful announcement. Maybe there's a new idea, some a whistleblower kind of energy. Information can come to the light, especially with this energy here. Breakthrough conversations, innovative voices. Maybe a new technology gadget could be announced this day. A mental reset, collective aha moments too. Get ready for that. On the 22nd, then Mercury will mosey on closer to Pluto in 3 degrees. That is a communication degree. So, uh, because Pluto likes to hide things, there could be some hidden information that could be surfacing. Again, this is something that's in the media, the technology, the social platforms. This could be exposing something. There could be some intense conversations, some uncomfortable conversations, a lot of therapeutic conversations happening this day, secrets within a group. secrets at a party, psychological warfare. And but here we have Mars at 29 degrees sitting next to Neptune. Yeah, this could be a secret war because the government could be secretly working on something when it comes to war. That is on the 22nd. We may not see it, but they are working on the 22nd. But collective conversations turn dark, maybe deep, maybe transformative. Voice is once ignored, maybe get some influence here. No going back after what's revealed, though. So whatever is said on the 22nd, Mercury works day by day too, because it moves fast too. Now then Mars will enter Aquarius. So then this is when we get all the Aquarius energy. And then the sun is sitting right on Pluto. Again, the secrets will come out. But Mars in Aquarius represents the collective anger, the protesting, the boycotts, activism, resistance. It gains momentum around this time. Sudden actions challenging authority and control. Again, we have problems with freedom of speech, and we're going to put pressure on you guys. That one, a lot of unpredictable energy, disruptions, energy that turns very rebellious, innovative, uncompromising, very stubborn. A lot of technology, fighting through technology, fighting through AI, all that. A lot of future AI talk here. Radical action replaces passive energy. That sun sitting next to that Pluto again is the secrets, the leaders, the institutes. Let's see what happens, what's going to be exposed. And maybe they are using AI and we'll find out how they're using AI. Yeah, influence shifts behind the scenes. Collective shadows come into the view. Yeah, a lot of things are going to be highlighted. Secrets are going to be highlighted towards the end of January. I'm excited to see what those secrets are because my Scorpio moon is very suspicious about a lot of things. Okay, and then too, you have Neptune entering Aries. It hits 29 degrees. It's going to feel very strong. The cuckoo people are going to be out, the drugs, the alcohol, the addictions. You may be on TikTok more than ever and you're like, I can't get off. Well, when it enters on the 26th, it enters and you're going to be there's a lot of restrictions, so with the addictions happening too, but then it will enter on the 26th Aries. And when it enters Aries, a major shift. This is the ending of the end. All the people who were collecting all this stuff because they thought the world was ending, now the world, you're not thinking the world is ending. There's a lot of faith and illusions towards a rebirth, towards a new start. Neptune represents sacrifice, it represents confusion, it represents escapism. But when it retrogrades, the illusions are lifted. So it represents illusions, but then half of the year it's retrograding. So the illusions are lifted. Aries represents your identity. It represents action, courage, war, independence, initiation, selfhood. So a lot of illusions on those things, a lot of illusions being lifted on these things, a lot of faith towards yourself, a lot of not having a faith, not feeling a compassion towards yourself as well. Okay, I did a whole video on Neptune and Aries. You guys, it's still very realistic. I want you to check them out. Let me see what we have in this comment. Best viewers, okay, on streambo.com. Okay, hello, spammer. But just looked at the some people can comment live. But back to, let me put my chart back up. Neptune in Aries, spiritualized identity. You're talking about a new leader, a new religious leader. You're talking about fighting for ideals. You're talking about illusions around a leadership could be happening. So a religious leader or the leader is fake and phony. Okay. Maybe you're sacrificing yourself, your body. Remember I said too before all this last year, I said that this is going to be something with photography because Neptune represents photography and the face. Aries represents the head. And then we had the new ID that was enforced with flying. So already had some predictions coming true. And here we are. Confusions about who the enemy really is could be happening here. Movements driven around your belief, your identity, about ideology. Again, the leader is the hero, but it's a facade. Wars or conflicts justified by ideals rather than facts. A lot of illusions around war, around a lot of falsities around war. Rise of chosen identities, missions, or causes. Fighting illusions instead of reality. A lot of people feeling like they need to sacrifice themselves too. I don't know if I said that. The holy war, also to Neptune and Aries. Confusion around courage and yes. Also, too, this is going to affect a lot of Aries people, a lot of Aries risings, a lot of Aries placements. Get ready. Neptune and Saturn being in Aries is a lot of things for you guys. I've discussed that in other videos, so go ahead and check out the past videos. But I want you to have an awareness that this could be deception and confusion of yourself, but then you will have some awareness of yourself. And it's going to help you find yourself and have compassion for yourself and be more serious about yourself when Saturn enters there. Okay. Searching for a purpose, an identity, desire to be brave and bold, acting or impulsing, being impulsive is going to teach you a lot of lessons when that Saturn happens there. But losing yourself in a cause, all the people who are boycotting that Neptune in Aries, just don't lose yourself, okay? Or have a burnout or while you're fighting or something like that, okay? Act from clarity, not illusions. Align courage with compassion. Ground spiritual beliefs in reality. Choose purpose without self-sacrificing. A lot of Aries energy is very impulsive and moves fast, so everyone needs to slow it down, okay? It's a great time for acting with your gut, being brave. At the same time, slow it down. Ask, is something really true? Is this really there? Is there tangible results in regards to bravery, war, fighting, um uh being first yourself, and leadership? Okay, Neptune and Aries ask us to act on our own beliefs, but first to make sure they're real. Okay, not every battle is meant to be fought. Now, January 27th, we have Mars. I was already on the 27th, but Mars in Aquarius, then it conjuncts Pluto. This is a obsession with war and fighting or power struggles, a lot of sex online, a lot of bizarre things online too. Be aware of that. Collective rage reaches its breaking point. Power struggles. So the people who were fighting and having boycotts, this is when it hits the fan. Okay, power struggles within group or movements or systems, control versus freedom, extreme reactions towards authority, towards technology, towards AI, towards institutions. Could be some underground movements here because these are things that are very hidden here. Aggression towards the thought of something, the intellect, not the personal, not the emotions. Let me see, no more compromising kind of energy. The system is forced to transform, or maybe it will collapse. It is a rebirth of something. Hyper focus on ideas, obsession with the truth or hidden information, power struggles through words, data, our ideology or the intellect. Major fighting with words here. Okay, if you thought the podcasters were fighting, and they're fighting even more now with this energy, but maybe there is weapons involved here. Mars represents sharp objects, guns, so just be aware of that. Blood, red, fixated on a topic until exhausted, become consumed by uncovering motives or system. A lot of private investigation here, and you are putting the energy towards the investigation. Just know that this is very sexual aggression energy. So this is not the time towards the end of January to walk down that back alley. No, no, no. Don't call that blind date and go home with him. This is not the time. This is very dominating, unexpected aggression, obsession, you know, all those things. And emotions are involved here. So it could be very detached, but it's very intense. So everyone stay home. Especially no sexy clothes that day. Okay, January 27th, using sex as a control or leverage also could be happening. So it's not just someone who could be like forcing themselves on you, it's someone who's using that alluring energy to attract. Pluto represents things that are very taboo. Mars represents the boing kind of energy. Okay, so just be aware of those things. Just obsession, fixation, control, compulsion, stalking behavior, losing objectivity. Pluto, the warning of Pluto: if you don't consciously release the obsession, it will release itself destructively on you. Okay, so anyone who's obsessed with someone, work on that. Go to therapy, because that Pluto also represents therapy as well. So watch out for losing yourself when you're fixated on something, and just be safe, everyone, around that energy. Let me see. Mars is action, aggression, and force. Aquarius could be on technology, through the media, through social media. Watch your kids, you guys, on social media around that time too. Now, January 29th, then we have, what do we have here? Mercury is now conjunct Venus. Ooh, 15 degrees, third degree. Could be something with a relationship with a friend or a community, or driving. Maybe you're talking and you're having like this well balanced conversation in a Waymo kind of energy. Conversations spark attraction. Ideas become flirtatious, charming, persuasive. This is when you're flirting, the kind of energy, but you're flirting online, viral conversations. And before, when I said this energy, what I was talking about, the obsession, it could be flirting before, because just because it happens this day doesn't mean it didn't lead up to that. So be aware of that. Friendship to romance kind of energy. Art, fashion, and cultural reflect futuristic things. Yeah, let me see if it's positive though. We have the Lover's card, so that is positive, and we have the Six of Pentacles. Someone's giving finances here. Um, Seems positive on that day. The day before, I would be very aware, okay? But the day of, it looks like you're naturally attracting some money through words, through communication. Yeah, but that Aquarius energy is emotionally detached. So be aware of that. The feelings are not really discussed. People are more intellectual with this energy. It's like, let's talk about it and replace it with, we're not going to get emotional. It's charm without depth. It could be some mixed signals here, because this is a lot about friendship energy and falling in love with the friends. Okay, feelings dismissed as irrational energy. Now, also too, because the conjunctions are positive and negative. So on the positive side, you're flirting with a friend, or you're flirting online. On the negative side, it could be like you're in love with an AI. Okay, so just be aware of that, or you need to have harmony and balance when it comes to AI. Like, it brings your harmony and balance. So just watch out for that. Words not matching behavior, emotional distance disguised as independence, intellectual superiority in conversations, because it's too intellectual kind of energy as well. Okay, so yes, that is what we have for this month of January. You guys, thank you guys for watching. Let me pull some more cards. What's the lesson overall for January? We have new journeys, we have new starts. Everyone needs to have some faith. Everyone needs to be optimistic, pack light, do not take that emotional baggage with you. We have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. That means things are not going to be moving slow, it's going to be moving fast in January. We have the Justice card. New Year's Eve, if you looked at my newsletter, New Year's Eve, New Year's is a Libra rising. So a lot of things with justice, fairness, relationships, balance, and harmony. The month of January is going to be focused on harmony. We got the Death card. The Death card does represent that Pluto energy, that Aquarius energy, a lot of rebirth, a lot of change, going through the darkness to see the light. We have that. Those are the themes of January. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, I got a lot of personal goals myself when it comes to my career. I'm going to be more serious about being an astrologer and being a tarot reader. I was just gliding by, and I was just accepting a lot of things because I'm comfortable in my life right now. I'm comfortable. My husband provides a great lifestyle for me. But I need to be more serious. My kids are getting older. And yeah, the focus for me being an astrologer is going to be more serious. So stay tuned to see what I have coming for you guys. All right. Thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to thumbs up this way. Thumbs up. I was pointing down because the thumbs up is down there. And share this video with people who love astrology and tarot. All right, I will see you next time. Bye.